that most people are going to grab.
The conceded best deck, I'd say. So it was only a matter of time that we would get to this late stage where we would feature two Kashtira matches. Kashtira decks fighting each other now.
Exactly.
And this is, both players are XO,
so
both undefeated.
2 more rounds to go.
The current state of the tournament is these two players are the only undefeateds without a draw. So Joe White and Alessio are the only two XOs. The Marine Sys player, however, is XO1, but he would have been pared down to an X1. So we could potentially have a final where the winner of this versus the winner of the Marine Sys matchup. So if Marine Sys player wins, he will remain undefeated with a draw versus the winner of this. But that can be really weird. So if the Marine Sys player loses, then the winner of this could be paired down to an X1, and it could be quite open-ended to see who could win the tournament. If the XO loses the last round, it could mean that an X1 could win the tournament, depending on tiebreakers. So that'll be really, really interesting. So Alessio's won the die roll here, which I'm not sure is even beneficial in the Kashtira mirror match.
Especially, I'd assume they know they're playing a mirror match. They've been set up at the top tables.
At this stage of the tournament, you've probably saw what your neighbours are playing.
Exactly.
So his game plan can probably be very, tailored towards what you would do in the mirror match. But what do you think the game plan is in the mirror? Like, what are you likely to do?
I think if you know maybe I'm wrong, but do you not just try and aim for a Rise Heart pass? Or do you go for a 5 monster zone lock?
I think you always go for the 5 monster zone lock regardless, depending on no matter what the matchup. I always found that a Rise Heart pass against the mirror is awful.
I can believe that.
It's just
you just trade with one phone mirror.
Because the lingering effect of a Rise Heart to banish all your opponent's cards is just not an effect. It doesn't matter because you don't care about your graveyard anyway. So all it is just one disruption, which again isn't even that great against the Kashtira engine. Because if you special Fenrir, you're forced to do it then. Exactly. And then after that, you special Unicorn, and then your whole engine just gets going. So I think he might have recognized that. I don't know if this has just been his game plan all tournament, but if it hasn't been, then he's doing this because he recognizes that a Rise Heart pass against the mirror is just not great.
It's not enough, right?
Is Joe White playing the Beer in the main?
Not that I can see.
So nothing to worry about in that regard. So this isn't the Lock Zone 5 combo. He needs the field spell for that. So he's going to just go for a regular lock 3, which is still a little bit oppressive. So it's not like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So it's more or less the standard stuff. Like the stuff that you would see like at the start of the format. The stuff it was doing when tier was a thing, like early on. Yeah. This was like the sort of combo that was done.
So yeah, the combo starts, the Big Bang, going to summon back one of the materials underneath the Shangri-La. Here. Joe White giving the thumbs up.
And when you pick between one or the other, so he's going for the monster zone.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
If you can only lock 3, the monster zone does make sense. You're right.
Yeah.
Which one do you pick here when you special off Big Bang? Do you generally go for the Unicorn or the Fenrir?
I
think it does matter.
I think it does matter, but I can't say which is better.
Yeah.
So I think.
I guess. What's he doing here? He's playing. Oh, that's cool. So he's using. He went into a Rise Heart earlier, so he can add back the Big Bang and then attach the Capsiosis off the Scareclaw. That is really, really cool. So he's likely to go for the Mind Hacker here. Have a little peep of his extra deck just to confirm, yes, I am playing Kashtira. And let's have a look at his Joe's extra deck because this is important in the Kashtira match.
So when I click a quick glance, there are some one-offs in here. So there's a one-off Big Eye.
You 100% take Big Eye.
Yeah, definitely.
Big Eye is really, really good in the Kashtira mirror match, and which is why I often would want to play 2 because it's just very important. Taking their Rise Hawk can be a bit of a blowout.
And as we can see in Alessio's deck, he is playing with 2 copies.
Yeah,
there.
so he recognises he really, really values Big Eye. So we didn't see what he did take there. But I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Big Eye. There's an argument that he could have took a Rise Heart because Joe is only playing 2 as opposed to the 3, which I'm very preference to. But I think your grind is just significantly more favoured if you just get rid of that Big Eye, for sure.
Let's see. I think he's going to attach one of Joe's cards, wanting to leave that Fenrir.
Oh, so he did banish the Big
Which
Eye.
Makes sense. I think that makes perfect sense there.
That does make sense, yeah. So now he's using Shangira to lock the 3rd and I think final zone in his turn.
For this turn, yeah.
So now I think it's going to come down to what other defensive cards Alessio has to disrupt his Kashtira engine.
If a card gets banished on Joe's field, that's just the rest of the zone's gone. The rest of the monster zone's gone, right?
Mm-hmm. So Shingira, he can decide whether he wants to use Shingira to summon a Fenrir unicorn. I don't think you do though.
No.
You 100% don't activate Shingira.
You just don't want to.
Because you don't want to give him an easier means to get the Zeus. Because you can special any Kashtira here, put a Rise Heart on top. And I don't think a Rise Heart has 3 materials.
No,
so that would,
I think it might do. It might be wrong.
It might. I can't quite see. It might do now.
I can't see the angle on it.
I know Theosis and Big Eye are underneath there, and Rise Heart at least. So yeah, it should have 3 materials. So it's not completely unreasonable to activate Shingira, but I wouldn't.
No.
I don't think you want to poke the bear.
It does have the impermanence there. I think you just chain it to remove the impermanence, right?
Yeah.
And then that will lock the rest of the zones. Right?
Yes, so that can prove to be a bit of a nightmare. But it does activate Shingira though, so it means
that's true.
So it unintentionally puts his Rise Heart online. So, but it means it triggers Mind Hacker, which will banish. So it does lock all 5 zones actually.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite unfortunate for Joe here, where he just.
You had to imperm the Rise. Did you have to imperm the Rise on actually?
I think yes and no, because I think.
Was there an argument to imperm Shingira?
I think maybe there's an argument that if he goes summon Fenrir, say, or Unicorn, Alessio will then attempt to remove it from play, face down. Then I think that's point is when you chain the imperm. Once it's removed, when Shangri-La effect activates to lock a zone, that's when you chain the imperm, right?
I see. You might also just have another imperm from the Shingira, then these zone lockers don't matter. Oh, that
Book of Moon.
That also just as good. Does he have Forbidden Lance? Then this is going to be quite problematic. It's not. So these X marks the spot here, and off they go.
So now Joe White's got quite a, I don't want to say easy way to victory, but he just has to work towards that Zeus, doesn't he?
And this is why I mentioned that is going second in the mirror just better, because you have instances like this where your cards are just so good at going second into a Kashtira game state, which you just naturally would play anyway, i.e. Book of Moon and Imperm. And now it's just like this Unicorn can put in so much work. He can clear his entire field.
Exactly.
He can just go into a Rise Heart, attack anything, then go into Zeus and get rid of his entire field. And if he can get Birth and he also has a follow-up here, he can do everything.
Yeah.
It's just...
So you can clear the field and then just do your combo back. And what's Alicia going to do at that?
It went from looking really good for Alicia to looking really bad in one fell swoop.
Yeah. Although we have to also acknowledge that Joe has lost a good portion of his deck.
Yes, that can cause some variance as well, right? I don't know what you could use that'll be stressful, but the one-offs that you could play are Big Bang, and he's playing 2 Rise Hearts, and that can be quite problematic. If he loses his Rise Hearts, that could be quite annoying.
Is it common to pay 3 Birth now? I feel like it might have been at 2, or is it always at 3?
I think there might have been a scenario where people played less, but I think with the Lock 5 combo now,
I think that makes sense. You want to draw.
You would max out on Birth. Birth's also just probably the best extender and probably the best card to open. So, just because of it's just the best push.
I'm not sure I agree on this here. Something in the Fenrir. I think. Do you not just want to activate that Zeus first?
I guess it depends on the rest of his hand. Like if he doesn't have another monster, then he can't do the Birth line.
Yeah, that's true.
So he might have to just remove his cards and buy another means. Also, if he goes for the Zeus line and he has infinite impermanence, he'll want to cry.
Exactly.
So maybe he just has to do these regular checks, and I think you have to generate as much card advantage as you can, and then go for the Zeus line.
See, maybe this is just my perspective, but I think just generating card advantage in Yu-Gi-Oh! It doesn't matter as where you're getting in the game. I think just generally generating more advantage just gets you in that net positive spot. Yeah. That it should be a lot harder for you to lose this game.
Well, here he might not even need to go for a Zeus line because he's lost his Big Eye. See, I think the Big
Eye would be a
Big Eye would have been a sound player here. Let's have a look at his extra deck to see what sort of lines he can go down.
So he has Draco Sack still. And then it's just the standards.
His extra deck doesn't have that much utility because he plays Lingaribo to respect Ibli.
What do you think about that?
I just think
I think
ignore
now
it. I think you just ignore it. Like your cards naturally
if it happens,
beat Ibli anyway with Econ, Book of Moon, and Book of Eclipse. Like at that point, you just don't care. So what's happening? Oh, so he's just went in a flare metal
Yep.
and he's just attacked Shingiri.
Yep.
So I guess he's going for the Zeus line.
Yeah. The only issue is, again, if there is an infinite impermanence per se.
Yeah, that would suck a lot. But I think this is probably the most obvious play, and let's see if it does get rid of everything. Yeah, as expected, there is infinite impermanence there. Oh! Forbidden Lance!
That's pretty powerful.
That's sick, because now he can clear his entire board, special summon the Scareclaw, and make his own Arise Heart.
Yep. And he's just sailing.
Ooh, he is. He's good, yeah. I don't know if the other effective Zeus... he has Rise Heart. Oh, you can do much more here.
So much
he
more
can normal
now.
Rise Heart and just like put himself in a position where...
Oh!
I think I see it.
This is the kind of dynamic about the cash deck I do actually really like.
Yeah.
So you can just do these cool plays with the Rise Heart to start generating these free cards that just appear out of nowhere. And once you got Birth,
This is sick.
Amazing.
He's just going... He's going to banish the Theosis to add back the Birth. And then if Alessio top decks a spell extender, the Birth's just going to banish his resources face down because they're all in the graveyard now because of Zeus. It's just... This is
so
really
where
good.
do you think he commits to a Shangri-La? No, there's no way. There's no way.
No, I don't think so. Like, I think a Rise Heart is probably like still ideal.
Do you think he goes for straight into a Rise Heart, or do you think maybe he makes something like a Mind Hacker or something along those lines as well?
Mind Hacker won't be the most unreasonable thing in the world, so you can try and get rid of his resources in his extra deck. He does play 3 Arise Heart, and he does play 2 Big Eye as well, so the impact that would have would be very minimal.
So far, he's only used 3 cards from his extra deck, right? He's used the Shangri-La.
He didn't Prosperity either, so I think Mind Hacker just, in terms of taking away extra deck resources, it's probably not the most viable thing. But to just get rid of resources in the deck, it might be reasonable.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can use Birth to bring this back. Maybe he wants to go for a Rise Heart with 3 materials, so then he has a form of disruption. I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he can just have any monster that can just crash into the Xyz and like just do some back.
Okay,
yeah, he is going for this.
I was curious if you made the Mind Hacker, would that put, and then made a Rise Heart, would that put 3 materials on the Rise Heart? Because then you get 1 from the Mind Hacker initial.
I think it would have. Yeah.
But
yeah, that probably would have been better just to get rid of cards in his deck.
Yeah.
And I think he probably should have put these monsters in attack mode, so
it just
they had to crash into them rather than just attacking them for free.
I think that's a lot. That's really important to note as well, especially because if he crashes into not the Zeus gets material, right? So.
I think it's not quite natural to put them in defense mode,
definitely,
right?
definite.
But
especially May Phase 2.
But I think that would have been better in attack mode unless I'm missing something. And his only form of disruption is Rise Heart, which isn't very strong against Kashtira. And this is how you get into these like weird sort of back and forth. It may look like it's good that Zeus cleared all his resources.
See, he does have his Prosperity in hand as well to follow up into this.
Yeah, and then the Mind Hacker play actually would have been quite good here because then Prosperity would have been worse.
So yeah, he had used 1, 2, 3 cards from his extra deck. Another one gone. That's 4.
Because you could have arguably took away his last Arise Heart. Sorry, his second Arise Heart, which would have made his grind like a bit more awkward.
Yes, exactly. So let's just see
in this
how many
position,
cards he removes.
when I played mirrors like this and somebody Prosperities, I just try and snipe one of the extra monsters to see if I hit a Goliath.
Yeah.
I don't think my opponent would ever be silly enough to banish a Goliath.
I think
they just might. So it's just like I'm just going to take it. Oh, he's going to birth.
The more I think about this Birth as well, this like.
I think they resolved birth incorrectly. I think it has to be on resolution.
Of
the spell.
That's true.
Rather than an activation of the spell.
Impermanence there. The impermanence does a lot there as well, actually.
If he already has engine, then yeah. Imagine not taking the field spell.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. Not where he's going.
Yeah, don't need it.
Don't need it. So let's see where Alessios goes with this.
So he's just. Oh,
and then he gets.
That can attach though.
Yeah.
The game state is just kind of. It needs to attach twice.
Yeah.
That's how the game. Yeah, it needs to. Well, I guess if we just say that.
So what do you think?
And the game state's kind of fixed now. Okay, it's not activated. Okay, this is where stuff can get really crazy. Because that can just deal with this entire field.
Exactly, yeah.
Because Fenrir is just a really ridiculous card.
That's absurd, yeah.
Then where do you go from here?
When you think about it, like, when you think about Fenrir, you always think, oh, it's that card that decks can play just as an extra bit of utility, and it's a body.
Yeah,
However,
it's a big guy that you can just summon for free.
Exactly, whereas now in this deck, it does everything. It's a starter, it's a one-card starter.
By itself, I don't think it does a whole lot in terms of engine, but in terms of removal, it's quite decent. If he already has Birth, then this is going to do a decent chunk of stuff, because you can banish, like, the Ogre off the Rise Heart. So that means you can summon back the Ogre and just control Joe's top deck, which is a play that I like to do.
That's really cool. I didn't think about that as well. That's really nice.
But you can just see what your opponent's going to get, and so you can control the top deck. He needs to remove. He's not going for that play though.
I don't think either of these players are on Ogre. I might be wrong.
They're
no,
not.
that's Joe White. No, that's Alicio's deck. He is playing the Ogre. He isn't playing the preparations.
Oh, they're both Ogre lovers, but they just don't play the preparation, which I guess is fine. I would still value Ogre.
It's just it's
outside
another name within your deck, right?
Well, yeah, it's just like he's big. He's a big fella, and he has that utility of controlling the opponent's top decks, which is it matters. Comes up enough.
So we're gonna see. I'm not sure really, because it feels like Lysios is taking control, but it could just be another draw from Joe where it's just.
Well, the thing is, like,
flips it back in his favor.
These decks feel really powerful against other decks, but when they're against each other, they just feel really underwhelming. Like, I feel really underwhelmed right now with the plays that are happening, because I know that, like, on the clapback, it's just not going to matter. But Alicio still having a copy of Big Eye is not underwhelming at all. Now I feel very, very whelmed indeed. So rightly so, he takes all three of the materials, so he doesn't have like a free disruption. But yeah, this is still going to be very oppressive, because he's just took his Arise Heart, and Joe only has one extra one. So if he has a way of like going to Mind Hacker to take his last one, then like
it's a bit
things are going to get really awkward for him. He can also banish his last Zeus as well.
So we'll have to see what happens next, because there's not much left.
I guess this goes to show how important a card like Big Eye is, because if
for
Joe had an extra copy in his deck, I think his end field would have just been significantly better.
You just see Joe tilting now, like, what's going on? So he's going to resolve the Theosis, and there we go, the Ogre.
Yeah,
in defense position, sadly.
You can get Big Bang as another form of disruption if he didn't banish it face down.
Yeah, I think it's already gone, unfortunately.
No, he did it. He did it at the start, right? So
we can put this as a attack.
This is quite interesting. Then I saw maybe he's just using it as a. I don't know why he used it then. Actually, if he's not going to extend with it.
Yeah, maybe in the main phase 2.
He just kind of put it on the board for no.
I think he's going to. I think he's going to use the Fenrir to clear the Birth here, right? That seems like the most obvious play.
Zeus is just stuck there.
Yeah.
Not that that's like terrible. And I guess leaving the Zeus on field means that he actually can't play.
Yeah.
Because the Birth's the one that's keeping them in the game.
Yeah,
you just get rid of that. And then if he tries to activate Monster Effect, you just take more things away from him. And of course, right? He just knows someone's another Fenrir. So he could arguably Big Eye again, right? It's not once per turn. You can just take the Zeus.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just no way. Oh, he's gonna clean up with the. I understand now. He's gonna summon the Dark Armed XYZ surely, and then destroy the Birth.
And I think it might also just be roughly around the game, right?
It's a lot. Oh, is it exact game? No. Oh yeah, it's 7-8, right? Am I wrong? Am I dumb?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I've just got like a dumb brain. Yeah, I just feel like the obvious play here. You just pop that with the Dark Armed XCs.
Yeah. Or he makes his own Arise Heart, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's also fine, but I'd kind of feel like the Dark Armed XCs was also just fine. Because you want to get rid of Birth, right? Like, you can't leave that. You can't.
I guess you just want to try and minimalise your opponent's draw for turn, right?
I don't know. Like leaving that Birth there, not for me. Not for me at all. Especially like the Zeus was fine, but playing another Arise Heart, like wasting another resource.
This should. Oh no, he's still got one, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't really get it. You could have had like Zeus a Rise Heart, which eventually would have got free materials because
Exactly.
of just natural gameplay, and the Darkon would have got rid of the birth. And if you just leave the Zeus on the field as well, like he can't actually play. Like it doesn't matter what his top pick is.
Exactly.
Like so you can book a moon like this to try and force it. You don't care, but you do kind of care now because birth's still there.
Joe White giving a think there. So he's gonna. I assume the birth is to follow here, and then maybe.
Like it's fine
Okay,
because
yeah,
he can just do it when he activates it. It
Yeah.
just didn't play around like him
I
just
agree,
normal
I
summoning
agree.
something.
Yeah.
Maybe he wanted to play around him activating another birth
Yep.
because the Arise Heart wouldn't have had free materials.
So,
Then.
yeah,
So I guess that's reasonable. Like yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
So we're gonna see Alicios take game 1.
Yeah, quite. I wouldn't say convincingly. It was quite back and forth. Alicio was in like a commanding position
Yeah.
game 1, suddenly wasn't, and then just got him back on the clap back.
I'd like to see
Big
if-
Eye really shining there.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely. I'd like to see how the match would have, or game, sorry, would have differed if Joe did the Mind Hacker play.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have removed a lot of cards from.
Yeah, that would
Alicios'
have
main.
changed his top deck, of course, as well. And you're right in saying that like the Rise Heart would have gained enough materials to be a disruptive.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times he summoned, maybe respecting Nibiru, but I think he definitely did summon more than
think he
5
just-
times.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think he just got
because he had
straight
Zeus
for it.
on the field as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Mind Hacker play probably was better, just to get rid of some stuff and just to add that extra variance
Exactly.
in,
Yeah.
and whilst also fueling up the Rise Heart at the same time.
But,
So Poe's side, this is something I'm still not massively sure on. Like, do you make the mirror go first?
it depends. I think there's a lot of things to think about here. You're 7 rounds deep into a tournament, playing the 8th match now. Have you sat next to this player? Have you witnessed what they're doing? Have you seen if they're making their
You might have had a
first?
peek of their side patterns, yeah.
You might have had a little peek at that sort of stuff. You get a little feel for what they're doing, and then that gives you more insight. Especially looking at how they played game 1.
Yeah.
Realistically, you can't just go a Rise Heart pass.
No.
You can't just do that. So you have
No,
to
it's
make
terrible,
more of a
yeah.
concerted effort. So
you would assume they would go for the lock 5 if they can.
for definite.
Or like a sub combo like Alicio did. Because if he went for a Rise Heart pass, he definitely would have just lost
For
there.
definite.
But since he went a bit wider on his field and he had more, he just generated more resources,
Exactly,
that meant
yeah.
that he could have a good follow up. His side pattern, I would assume he'd put the Gamma and the Dark Holes and Lightning Storms in, because
Lightning
if
Storm, for definite.
Lightning Storms, not for definite. I guess you got to weigh up what you think Joe's going to do. Like you
Yeah,
think he's
for
going to do a Rise Heart pass, so
Yeah.
you would probably assume not. Maybe Lightning Storm kind of just sucks.
Yeah.
But definitely the Dark Holes and the Gammas.
See, I actually think Joe White might be greedy. He might see if he can go second.
I think it's completely fine to be greedy.
And I think if he is,
What's his side pattern?
He's got Lava Golems, Book of Eclipses. That's 5 cards that you can side in. That with Pot of Prosperity as well. There's
Yep.
lots to go there.
Yeah, but Lock 5 is also extremely powerful, so it's a really difficult decision, and I don't think either
Okay,
one
so-
or the
yeah,
other is
so
wrong.
Joe
He has
is
chose
going
to start.
first.
Valuing
He's
the Lock
gonna-
5
he's
is...
gonna Gamma Defender at the beginning. What do you think about that?
I don't think that's completely unreasonable either. It means that you're guaranteed to not get Lock 5'd.
Joe ashed it.
Ash, he really valued this Fenrir resolving. That's interesting. Because the Gamma stays in his hand, so he can Gamma again.
Yeah, although I will admit, I've ashed a Gamma in my time. But I'm not sold on it in this specific scenario.
Yeah, I guess it depends what the rest of his hand is. Like, if he really, really need this Fenrir to resolve, that makes sense. And this can banish for cost as well, so the Gamma interaction on here is not great. Yet, I'm still not seeing it yet.
I'm not seeing it either, Darren. I won't lie to you.
Because,
I'm not sure.
he mustn't have had another monster in his hand.
Yeah,
So now it makes more sense.
Yeah,
if
that
his
makes sense,
Fenrir
yeah.
got Gammaed here, his Theosis would have been a blank.
that's true.
And
that's
then he
true.
would have just had to pass. Yeah,
Just-
he definitely had to ash that Gamma there,
I'm
otherwise
not
he wouldn't be in
disagreeing
this
with
game
it. It
state.
just feels very.
He would have had
rough.
the pass. He would
It
have
feels very rough, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not great, but like he's in a significantly better position, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That bit I'll give you. Yeah.
Like he would have been in the worst position if he didn't ash it.
So he could still use the Rise Hearts Room from play a Kashtira card from deck.
Yeah, and if he has the birth, which again I don't think he wouldn't have. If he had birth, I don't think he would have bashed the Fenrir, because he would use birth, bring back Fenrir, then activate Theosis.
So he's then going to remove another 3 cards from play.
Is his last 2 cards in hand Scarecrow, Kashtira, and Theosis? Because that'd be pretty sick.
That'd be amazing if he has at least the Scarecrow Kashtira. But no, if he had the Scarecrow Kashtira...
He banished the Gamma face down? He probably would have banished the Driver face down. So sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he just likes looking
Feeling
at
a bit
Driver.
frisky, yeah. Might just want the Driver out.
It's a tuner, you don't trust those tuners.
So...
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going with this other than Shangiri Pass.
But there's no... That just can't be the right...
I mean, there's nowhere else you can really go. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
Right. Calling the set cards. Solemn Judgment, Book of Moon.
Sure.
Let's go. I believe. I'm optimistic here.
It could just be for... Well...
He is summoning in the stand by phase as well, so he has no fear.
I think you have to. You're in a position where it's looking really rough.
But it's a rough position, especially just because if he does get that one Tearlament monster...
And this is why it feels so weird to start with. Oh, he did put in the Lightning Storm.
He's going to flip the Judgment.
Oh, yes, he had to.
Right.
He had to.
I'm halfway there. This last remaining set card? Book of Moon.
So I wasn't massively convinced on Lightning Storm, but I think it does make sense with the amount of back row that you can play.
Even for cards like Forbidden Lance and even those types of cards, it could just be the difference
Force them,
in getting attacked through, right?
So now he effectively has to... He knows what he has to play through, because Joe doesn't have any more cards in hand.
Exactly.
So he just has to respect Fenrir and a set card.
Yeah.
Because the Shangiri is not doing an awful lot. If anything, it's helping him play.
For definite, you can see there's a lot of cards that Joe could have. He could have Impermanence, Book of Moon. I think those are the only 2 cards I would say.
Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse here would, I think, would
Book of Eclipse
really
maybe
strong.
As well, actually, yeah.
But Alessio has Engine here. Like he's either getting the Field Spell or Unicorn. That's for sure.
Just depends which one he wants to take.
Yeah, it's probably the Field Spell.
Yeah, he just wants to start with Fenrir.
Unless he just really just want to lose the Cosmic.
Yeah.
Which, does Joe play Cosmic?
I don't think... Oh, he does in the side deck?
Interesting.
Do you think? Maybe,
I don't think it's completely unreasonable for him to side in Cosmic. And if he's probably thinking, yes, you take it, I've got Cosmic. Yeah, I mean, like...
Always going to zone lock. Go on, Joe.
Yeah, not unreasonable.
Yep. So we can get 2 zone locks.
If that's a Cosmic, though, I'll scream. Like, that could be crazy. Like,
especially if he has taken it, instead of something else.
It's not an unreasonable thing to put in, but I'm not sure if there's anything I would take out for it. So I'm not really expecting it
maybe
at all.
Maybe if he wants to take Gammas out, maybe?
Not unreasonable either.
Because he has put the room for the Judgments in, so it could either be Eclipse or Cosmic, maybe.
It'll probably be Book of Eclipse and Judgment you put in before Cosmic, to be honest. So. Yeah, and we know he hasn't took out Ash, so it's not likely a Cosmic.
So
he's
already nodded?
I'll hold the screen. You have a look at it there.
Who's like, oh, did I miss it?
It has to be Book of Eclipse or Book of Moon here, or he's going to get...
Yeah, because
it's going to suck.
I don't know, would you pay 4,000 life points for an Infinite Impermanence? I'm not sure, because I don't think Infinite Impermanence does enough.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I would definitely play a 4K to keep a Book of Moon or a Book of Eclipse.
That I agree with. But
like the second he specials one of his Kashtira monsters, you
just flip that.
You make him read a book, get him down. Yeah, he's just like, okay, okay.
Infinite Impermanence. It has to be now.
I'm not sure if I'd pay 4K for an Infinite Impermanence.
Neither am I. But
maybe he just thinks he's game state is just so bad, he just had to.
The only thing that could be interesting...
I guess he doesn't have to activate it right this second. Oh, it is Imperm. Okay, sure. Well, it doesn't look like he's really getting anywhere with this either.
Then do you activate your Fenrir on the new chain to remove it from play? So I think you have to, right?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I think Joe just realised what happened.
Did he or he didn't already activate it, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's gonna
Yeah,
get
I think
attachment.
you. Problem is, if you remove it, then he just specials a unicorn, and you want to cry.
Definitely.
But he can't have free materials on this, so he's still in it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a.
And the Shangira sticking there really helps.
So yeah.
Eliseo, if he can banish another card to put free materials on, I think in draw phase he can just go. Or he can just go Zeus actually. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, just put him on 0 cards. That's completely reasonable.
He gets an additional draw from the Garura as well, and the field.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I like that. That's really good. He has to get rid of that the field spell as well. Bear in mind.
Yep.
So yeah, just assume that field spell's not there. That is in fact in the graveyard. His draw per turn has to be unicorn or bust. Oh, it's a set card. Okay.
Not looking the best for Joe now.
No, but Eliseo also needs a follow up. But he can just.
But even then, yeah.
It's a 3K. It's 1K.
Or
you can put another Zeus on top. yeah. I think that's game set match, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not looking.
Okay, they've recognised that planet should not be there, which is fine. It wasn't impacting the game state at all, so nothing to worry about.
Just 100 less damage, closer to the game.
It's just 1K to go. That has to be unicorn, and even if it's unicorn, it's just going to get Zeused, and I hope that sets an imperm. He's just passed.
I think it's fine to pass here. I think even if you do have a play, I think give it another turn and see what happens.
Oh no, it's just skip.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, and Eliseo convincingly taking a 2-0 win against Joe White in this Kashtira mirror, and we saw how intricate those mirrors can really be, and how weird it can be with Zeus being a card, things like Big Eye. But I think what gave Eliseo the edge there was the fact that he played 2 copies of Big Eye.
Yeah, for definite. If Joe was able to remove one of those copies, I think that would have changed a lot of things in that game 1.
It would have made things significantly more difficult. And I think the Mind Hacker play would have had a bigger impact if he did go for it, if he was playing one Big Eye.
Agreed.
But I think maybe assuming